So, ladies and gentlemen, New York City, not William Barr, not President Trump, New York City, the state of New York, I should say, has deemed Bill Clinton's billionaire buddy to have engaged in self-inflicted, well, his wounds were self-inflicted. The broken bone in his neck was self-inflicted, and it's not an apparent anymore. It's just, okay, autopsy concludes death was a suicide by hanging. This is the Washington Post. So, that's the official narrative. I have H.A. Goodman's other channel. We can talk about things. I find it very bizarre that he was taken off Suicide Watch. So, real quick, two guards slept through. This is the New York Times. Jeffrey Epstein death. Two guards slept through checks and falsified records. The guard did not check him for 3 hours, officials said. The disclosures came as guards and the warden at the jail were removed. Okay, the warden at the jail, the guards, the congressmen and congresswomen, congresswoman and congressmen that either preside over the district, or I believe a congresswoman presides over, both Democrats. Jerry Nadler, I think, his district is close to the correctional facility. You have de Blasio, you have Andrew Cuomo, America's never great. America was never great. And you have Chuck Schumer and Kristen Gillibrand. You have a political machine where I believe 83% of the politicians are Democrat. And so I just find it very difficult. The issue is not what's plausible. Democrats are always going to say, well, you know, the official narrative is plausible. Yeah, it's also plausible, by the way, that not only plausible, it was likely that Trump never worked with Russia, yet they investigated and they fomented and spewed the conspiratorial belief that Trump worked with Russia to buy Facebook ads, to hack the hack the DNC to inform the country that Bernie Sanders was cheated. Bernie Sanders was cheated. Debbie Wasserman Schultz was forced to resign. Three or four other Democratic officials were forced to resign in disgrace. Bill Clinton flew on a plane 26 times, that were owned by his billionaire buddy, who apparently offed himself. Now, again, this is a problem where if the tables were turned and it was Republican city, Republican state, Republican governor, Republican mayor, Republican congresspeople, a Republican machine, and not only a Republican machine, you have to understand, people like Paul Ryan and John McCain and Jeff Flake, they don't like Trump. They're never Trumpers. They have more in common with Nancy Pelosi than they do with President Trump. But the great thing about President Trump, and they can call him racist from here until eternity, he's not. The Clintons are a greater embodiment of that. And you have the First Step Act with Trump and mass incarceration with the Clintons. We can go on forever. They've said and done things that are infinitely worse. But see, they don't have Russia anymore because that fell flat. And that was, well, they fomented and fabricated everything. Even the two intelligence reports state, well, we're not certain. Don't confuse judgments with fact. But you have this notion that, well, if it's plausible, you have to believe it, even though you have things that are not only so bizarre, like there was never the equivalent of two guards slept through checkpoints and falsified records. There was never the equivalent of that in the whole Russia narrative. There was nothing linking anyone from Manafort to Papadopoulos. In fact, they were all set up. Manafort committed crimes, fine, that had nothing to do. These were like 10-year-old crimes from the financial crimes that had nothing to do with election interference or anything like that. George Papadopoulos was set up. Michael Flynn was set up. The 30-plus people in the Russia investigation pled guilty to lying to FBI agents. process crimes. These FBI agents utilize the United States government against these people to set up and frame Trump. And then when people say, like, the Wall Street Journal editor the other day on Fox Business, well, I don't know if people have the appetite for it. Yeah, people have the appetite. Yeah, they do. They do. You deem something to be a self-inflicted wound, suicide. Okay, then you have the Daily Beast. The only thing Jeffrey Epstein's broken bone proves, and that, okay, the hyoid bone, because he was 66 years old, it snapped, whereas if it was flexible, it would have shown, if he was younger and it was a lot more flexible, it would have shown that he was strangled. Okay, that he could have been strangled. Okay. Again, I don't know what happened to Jeffrey Epstein. The Clintons certainly had nothing to do with it, and I truly mean that. Or at least I should say, they didn't order any hit. They've never ordered any hit. That's not the way. Clinton doesn't even use servers. She doesn't even know what she's doing when she has servers outside of the United States government for 4 years. And by the way, they relish, Democrats relish the fact that Clinton had an email scandal and a uranium-1 scandal. They relish it. They love it. This is an example of political power, and it just proves that the Republicans are completely out of their minds. She did nothing wrong. James Comey was honest. Trump is racist. He worked with Russia. There's a lot of smoke there. They live in their own reality. Money flowing to the Clinton Foundation from Uranium-1 had nothing to do with President Obama not vetoing the sale of 20% of U.S. uranium capacity. How could you possibly think otherwise? The official narrative has always been right. But the official narrative, once proven wrong with Trump, it's still not enough to get them to admit defeat. So, this is the New York Times article. I'm sorry. You have a correctional facility in New York that is known to be, some people say, worse than Rikers Island. The guards did not check on him for 3 hours. Why is that? And then suddenly he offs himself with bed sheets, and you're not supposed to give these people who have he tried suicide before, you're not supposed to give people you're not supposed to give people the means to off themselves, and yet he was. The 2 staff members who were guarding the jail unit where Jeffrey Epstein apparently killed himself fell asleep, failed to check on him for about 3 hours, and falsified records to cover up their mistake, according to several law. Okay, so listen. Not saying Bill Clinton ordered a hit. No, that's not the way things work. There's one person. Okay, Trump has zero reason, zero motive to ensure this billionaire friend of Bill Clinton doesn't breathe again. Zero reason. He never needed anyone else to hook him up with women or whatever. Also, Bill Clinton couldn't even have a tenure in office without a sex scandal. He has a litany of harassment and sexual assault allegations, far surpassing anything President Trump had. And the only thing, once he ran for office, then suddenly it was he was racist and he treats women badly and everything. Before he ran for office, no, not really. Nothing. No accusation. With Clinton, it was decades-long history from Monica Lewinsky to lying about it to a Wikipedia page, Paula Jones, Juanita Broderick. It's always believe the victim, except if it's anyone that implicates the Virginia lieutenant governor or Bill Clinton. We can go on. Anthony Weiner. Boy, they have a hall of shame of people, okay? But this is just a New York Times article. Now, there are other articles talking about he was taken off a suicide watch. Why is that? Why is that? Now he was deemed as a suicide, so it's like, it's just interesting how the Daily Beast Instantly. Like, well, the only thing that proves is that he's old. Well, yeah, but it also could be that he was strangled. I mean, it's interesting. But at 66, the U-shaped bone between his chin and his Adam's apple likely would have become so brittle with age. Like, 66 is not that old. Like, it's old, but not that so brittle. Your bones are not that brittle at 66. Yeah, you know what? You know what? A lot more so than. But, I mean, it's an 80-year-old, 70-something, or 80-year-old, definitely 90-year-old. But it would have been so brittle with age that it could have been broken by hanging. Yeah, it could have. But you have all of these anomalies, like guards slept through checks and falsified records. Okay, then you have a prison known for horrible conditions. It's rodent infested. One article, I think the Gothamist has I believe that's the publication, has an article about how some prisoners view it worse than Rikers. And this is a Democratic Party machine. Before jail suicide left alone, for inmates, that suicide watch is meant to. So it's like he was taken off it, and then see that's also bizarre. Instead, Epstein was taken off, and the days before he apparently took his own life. So why was he taken off? It's just very bizarre. But you have a motive. You have a motive with Trump's political rivals that you don't have with Trump. Trump's political rivals don't have a business of their own. They don't have a source of income. Bill and Hillary do not have a source of income. Their source of income is selling themselves. There's a word for that. Their source of income is selling themselves, and they don't have their own jets. They, like, basically just leech off other people. Trump has his own planes. He has his own ability to meet people. So it's not, you're talking about two different political animals. Well, they say, oh, well, Trump knew him. That guy knew everyone. Okay, Epstein knew everyone in New York. So, yeah, Trump would know him. That's not relevant. It is completely illogical and not relevant to say there's a picture of Trump partying with Epstein. Who cares? The issue is, did Trump fly with the guy to Africa? Did Trump fly on his plane because he didn't have planes? There's a New York Magazine article from 2002. What brought Clinton close to this guy? Well, Clinton doesn't have a plane. This is from 2002. Then there's a Fox News, and there's a Gawker article, and there are other articles talking about 26 times or over 26 times he flew with the billionaire who is almost certainly, well, definitely burning right now down below. So, I mean, it's like they don't care that Clinton committed crimes with her email servers outside of the United States government. They don't care that Clinton and the DNC cheated Bernie Sanders. Neither does Bernie Sanders. He's engaged in a cowardly act. They don't care that Bill Clinton flew 26 times on a plane of this guy. They don't care that they've set up and framed President Trump with a dossier purchased by Clinton. They will not care that Clinton is going to be the 2020 nominee again, because all of this madness is to pave the way. Okay, what you see right now on that stage is theatrical performance. That's a farce. And I'll go one step further. If they don't install Clinton, because I looked at the fundraising, she raised $45 million at this point in July of 2015. I think Warren herself has a total of $26 million, something like that. And she wasn't even trying. Like that, she didn't even get full steam. Okay? She has doubled. You can combine Biden and Warren's fundraising, and it wouldn't even, maybe it would barely surpass or wouldn't even surpass what Clinton raised in July and August of 2015 at this point in the election before 2016. This is like President Trump being framed blatant, overt, kind of right before our very eyes. And now we see this, and it's like, well, the official narrative is that it was just suicide and no foul play. But that's New York City telling you that. And, the state of New York, or the coroner works for the state of New York. The state of New York is a political machine. Jeffrey Epstein was a Democrat. He was a donor to Democrats. Okay? The politicians implicated, most of the politicians implicated are Democrats. Okay, he donated to several Democrats throughout the 90s. Gave heavily to Democrats. Open secrets. Okay? Gave heavily to Democrats. From 1989 until 2003, he donated more than $139,000 to Democratic federal candidates and committees, and only $18,000 to Republicans. Okay? Okay? From 1999 to 2000, Epstein donated $77,000 to Democrats John Kerry, Richard Gephardt, Chris Dodd. So he donated almost exclusively to Democrats, flew Bubba Bill 26 times on his plane, committed in a facility that is run by a Democratic machine, and then people have the audacity to say, oh, well, what's William Barr and Trump up to? It's like, no, you fool. Trump has as much authority, or William Barr has as much input and authority in New York as Mitch McConnell does. Okay? Like, or as Pelosi has in Alabama. And it's basically the same type of thing. I mean, you're not going to... You're talking about Democrats taking care, likely, in some way, either people that are implicated possibly, who are primarily Democrats. I'm not saying anyone ordered anything. I'm saying it's far more plausible that people who stood a great deal to lose, who happened to all be Democrats, it's a political machine that Jeffrey Epstein donated to, was a part of, okay? Even Trump donated to Democrats. I mean, you have to play ball with Democrats. That Bill Clinton flew on his plane 26 times, you're talking about very likely foul play, and foul play to protect the people who could be hurt the most by this guy, and the people who could be hurt the most by this guy are everyone from Bubba Bill to Democrats in general. And that's a fact. There is no, and this is not, some kind of horrible theory. No. Just, this is it's far more realistic to say that the Democratic Party or Democrats had something, in some way, to do with the foul play that possibly took place, than to say that Trump worked with Russia because James Clapper told us. So if James Clapper said, yeah, he thinks that Bubba Bill had something to do with it, then you'd believe it? No, the people are like, oh my God, James Clapper has he's off his rocker. Democrats only care when the official narrative suits them. If the official narrative doesn't suit them, well, there you go. Give me your thoughts below. Share this segment everywhere. Check out H.A. Goodman's other channel right now. Thank you.